Click links to join channel here over at SubScribestar. So Dasha Nekrasova dropped by talent agency, fired and blacklisted by Hollywood for having the audacity to engage in the open marketplace of ideas and talk to people. Way to put the rumors to rest. I'm sure Greenblatt will do more interviews to tell us how to think. Maybe he'll make a Twitter post with 1 million views and like 13 likes, and then he'll turn off comments. And you ever notice that the media vermin, and they are, label things far right, but they never label things far left? The problem with the left is, well, stuff like this. Censorship. The right wants to talk about substantive issues. The left wants to label the speakers and ignore the issues. The left has to censor because they have really bad ideas that can't be defended. If the right has free speech, we win. The idea of censorship, which YouTube really started pushing heavily after the left was surprised with Trump in 2016, and they started in about 2018, where there was a ton of right of center channels, and to kick them off. The thing is, you can censor a few voices, but you have to stop there, because if there are too many that you start kicking off, then the market will adjust to meet the demand. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot. To kick off Soft and who's the guy? Fuentes would be one thing, but then they got rid of Red Elephants, Fuentes, Red Ice, Dr. Duke, Jared Taylor, and American Renaissance, and just hundreds. They said they kicked off thousands of right-wing channels. It's like, well, that's why they bought Google in 2013, to control the narrative. And the thing is, this is actually a good thing, because they went to DLive for a little while, which DLive has got to be some kind of Chinese money laundering scenario, because they kicked off, like, DLive has got live streams, or back in the day, back in 2018, they had live streams, with 5 people in them. It was just a backup live streaming platform. And then the right wing went there, and they were getting, thousands of dollars coming in, and tens of thousands of viewers, and DLive kicked them off. It's like, YouTube can kick off people, because it's like, this is less than 1% of YouTube. Most of YouTube is girls with big milkers doing like cat videos and unboxing videos. It's just the dumbest stuff on earth. But DLive wasn't like that. So for DLive to kick off their biggest draws, DLive is, there's something else going on with DLive. So what they did was Fuentes starts Cozy, and Odyssey library went to Odyssey and kicked into gear with live streaming. Rumble got live streaming, and a bunch of other people started off their own live streaming. GTV with Handsome Truth, and a bunch of other little sites, because the buy-in cost to start a live streaming was like, even Nice Crew Digital, I think, has got a live streaming platform. To live stream is not that expensive. To host videos is where things start adding up, because you got to have like physical hardware to store things. The issue was the demand was there, and then people started flowing off of YouTube to these alt platforms, which is fan-freaking-tastic. So we keep asking them where their left-wing ideas work, and I think God, who was that guy? They named like white ethno-state. I want to say Gavin McInnes was interviewing some just useful idiot left winger, and you go, where do these socialist ideas? And they're naming the Scandinavian countries. Back in the day when it was 99% white, high IQ, high trust people, have been the same group of people for thousands of years. Or they'll point to Japan or something, and it's crazy innovations. They go, why can't we have nice things? And I could tell you, but that would be the last video on YouTube. I could answer in like just two words. So censorship is so bad because there are no mainstream platforms where we could discuss why Sweden was nice 20 years ago. And now, unfortunately, is the struggle snuggle capital of Europe. Gosh, what happened? It sure is a effing mystery. So those videos are on SubScribestar with like 30 members instead of YouTube, where you're going to get hundreds of viewers. So the left is surprised when they eventually get exposed to the ideas that like Ireland is for the Irish, and people are kind of getting ready for World War III because the voices of nationalists have been suppressed for so long, and they act shocked and just incredulous and laugh at the idea of Dub 3. And you point out, the evidence pointing to the probability is in the 3 part of the name. So the left has these delusional beliefs that Trump and Fuentes are far right. They think they're essentially aligned with Hitler, but they've never read his book and have no idea what his views were. They have a Hollywood understanding of, for the life of me, I forgot the name of his book, of everything. The idea that of reading like the most important book of the war shocks them. At least it's in the top 10 of foundational books. They've been so brainwashed that they self-censor, and they're proud of their ignorance. It's bizarre that they think that they're the counterculture when their views are reflected by Bank of America and CNN. They have blue hair and nose rings and men in dresses, and then they look around and it's like, yeah, we're all kind of in a uniform, aren't we? It's a collection of cowards brainwashed by Bolsheviks. No, Antifa are not fascists because words have meanings. Look into the beginning of Antifa 100 years ago. Yes, it goes back a long time. And fascism is not a pejorative. It's weird how the left and the right has been brainwashed into, the right has been brainwashed into accepting the left's syntax, nomenclature, framing of an issue. So their argument is to call the left fascist. No, they're Bolsheviks, communists, globalists. That's all. It doesn't matter. Like, people argue if something's on the left or right. It's like, that doesn't matter because that's penultimate to what they actually believe. It's just a label, so you feel like it's us versus them. It's definitely them, but calling them fascists doesn't make sense. It's like the word. Go back to look to the definition of these things. So they've been fed this globalist media lie of a fictional TV environment that is left-wing, and they think that's the country because they're in an echo chamber where outside opinions are obviously by Nazis and they don't matter, so they don't really exist. And they think half the country is wearing Hugo Boss and Roman saluting because they don't want to sterilize children or have men in the ladies' room. Nobody wants to actually hurt them. We're just pretty reasonable to say sterilizing children seems like Weimar or even more serious. What's a biblical story? Sodom and Gomorrah level of insanity. So they don't understand how Nick Fuentes can meet with the president and have tens of thousands of people in a live stream, and they think he's far right. Unfortunately, he isn't. It'd be a lot cooler if he was. He's politically incorrect. And those are not synonymous. But the left has this weird juvenile view that you just need to be a heckin' good person, my guy, and trans rights right now. And then you ask them if Islam is right about their treatment of the gays and what happens when their numbers reach a critical mass, and they just refuse to accept it because they've been programmed by globalist media that European people have to be bad, the Bolshevik or Marxist oppressed framework, and browns are marginalized and oppressed, kind-hearted souls who also unfortunately struggle, snuggle children, and burn people alive in cages via ISIS and Boko Haram and the various other groups. And they also teach the gay community that gravity is about 10 meters per second squared, the applied physics lessons from a high place, or things like Quran 434 just can't exist in their world because political correctness has them fettered to a fictional meadow of nonsense. So Fuentes uses epithets. Who doesn't? I try to use them every day, but he doesn't have far-right beliefs, which if they were able to listen to him on mainstream platforms, they would understand. So they have a straw man view of the world. The conversation, and the right understands the left because we've been swimming in left-wing propaganda our whole life. The left doesn't understand the right because they self-censor. They won't read right-of-center books. They think, well, look at all these banned books available on Amazon. That's... The right wing has actual, go get My Struggle on Amazon. You're going to be looking a long time for that. So the conversations Fuentes and the Dasha podcast girl had were very mild compared to what the actual right wing discusses. And using epithets is irrelevant. And if anything, it's bait. It's positive. It's a good thing to help break people out of the media conditioning to accept that they've been brainwashed, to have a Pavlovian response to certain trigger words. because a word should not have that kind of power over anyone. But the left thinks the values they hold are organic and not installed by a lifetime of globalist media and government schools, and they want to rage against the machine while being politically correct. They're at the punk show where there's a billboard with like 24 rules against wrongthink that didn't exist in the 80s because SJW today are just complete bleeding pussies from, kind of helicopter parents generations that kind of started in the 80s. So what a way to discuss manipulation of a narrative by a talent agency by dropping their actress and Hollywood blacklist. It's happened before. I think Kanye, a couple other people had something similar happen to them. So, which I assume she knew was going to happen, not just from the Fuentes interview, but it seems she's anti-communist and discusses things that are not from a far left-wing position, and that is just haram to do and remain in Hollywood. So she probably accepted that she'd rather just be a podcaster and social media figure than an actor, which, unless you're an A-lister, is a hit-or-miss thing, and she's 34, and in Hollywood, that's kind of mean if you're a female and you haven't already hit it big by then, it's like, okay, nothing's going to happen. But the message that sends is that globalist Hollywood doesn't want anyone to talk to Fuentes, or they'll obviously suffer the same fate and be deplatformed and unable to make a living in that industry because they have this religion of globalism, and it is firmly founded on censorship, which is the heart of political correctness. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.